welcome to Portland State University's 2019 Spring Commencement Ceremony. I want to wish a happy Father's Day to all of you who join us. And as a mother myself, I also want to recognize everyone who has contributed to parenting our graduates today. My name is Susan Jeffords. I'm the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, and it's my honor to lead today's ceremony. Joining me on the stage are honored guests, PSU's academic and administrative leaders, and our two student commencement speakers, all of whom are listed in your program. Please rise now. I'm sorry, you're already standing. For the singing of the national anthem by graduating Portland State student Jennifer Crow, who is earning her master's degree in social work.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we've hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Jennifer. Congratulations on your degree. We may now have to call you the singing social worker. Portland State University acknowledges the traditional land on which we stand. We recognize the larger story that informs the present and the resilience of Indigenous people. If you are able, continue to stand to welcome James Smith, who is Fort Peck and Warm Springs, and the Bulls and Bears Drum Group, who will perform a Native American honor song in recognition of the Indigenous land we are on and in honor of our graduates today. Thank you, James Smith and Bulls and Bears. Please take your seats. Our ceremony is being broadcast live online and also on Oregon Public Broadcasting. Please visit pdx.edu for further details. I'm very pleased now to introduce to you the acting president of Portland State University, Stephen Persy. President Persy.
Members of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences class of 2019, I'm delighted to be here to celebrate this milestone in your life. I also want to extend to you, all of you and your families, a warm greeting from our volunteer board of trustees, including Pete Nickerson and Chair Gail Castillo. Graduates, can I ask you one more time to stand up for just a minute to join me in thanking the family, friends, and all the people who played important roles in helping make this day a reality for you. Can you stand up and we'll just give everybody a big round of applause. You may be seated. You have a lot of celebrating ahead, so my remarks will be brief. As you move on to new adventures in your lives, I want to remind you of the value and importance of courage. As Maya Angelou, writer and poet, told us, without courage we cannot practice any other virtue with consistency. We can't be kind, true, merciful, generous, or honest. The students graduating today know a lot about courage. It takes courage to balance work, family, and academic study. It takes courage to begin an hour-long commute to campus by standing at the bus stop in the rain. Courage to tell your boss you can't pick up that extra shift because you have a class project due the next day. Courage to leave your child at a daycare so you can study. Courage to attend class among students who don't look like you or who don't understand your culture. Courage to help those same classmates to develop an understanding of your culture. And courage to be the classmate who is devoting an understanding of another person's development. Courage, as you say, on a daily basis. So as you go forward in life, I wish you still more courage, for it will take courage to find right career path, matches that unique your talents and aspirations, courage to have meaningful, honest, and fulfilling relationships, courage to use your talents, experience, and passion to help others and advance social justice, courage to continue learning across your lifespan to sustain your creativity and capability, and courage to get involved in civic life to find a pathway to activities that build and strengthen neighborhoods, schools, and community. The world needs and can benefit from your talent if you have the courage to get involved. As Michelle Obama reminded us, you may not always have a comfortable life, and you'll not always be able to solve all the problems at once. But don't ever underestimate the importance you can have, because history has shown us that courage can be contagious and hope can take a life of its own. So as you leave the marvelous graduation celebration today, remember it takes courage to meet our goals, to realize our dreams, and to support others in becoming the best they can be. May the courage be contagious. Congratulations, class of 2019.
Thank you, President Persy. Graduates, as you transition from being students to alumni, you should know that there are PSU alumni located throughout the world. PSU alumni are well respected in the world of work, in graduate schools across the nation and around the globe. So please join me now in welcoming Eric Brown, the president of the PSU Alumni Association.
Good afternoon. There's a lot to celebrate this afternoon. First of all, happy Father's Day, particularly to my dad, who's a first-generation college graduate. Also, happy Pride. Celebrate that today. Great to be a part of that community today. Thank you so much for this great honor. Thank you, President Persy, PSU faculty, staff, distinguished guests, families, friends, and of course, all of you. To the class of 2019, my fellow PSU alumni, this is truly one of the most humbling moments of my life, to be standing in front of you. Not because of the sheer number of you, but because of what this day represents in your lives. How hard you've worked, all that you've sacrificed to be here. which is why it gives me great pleasure to say, on behalf of more than 190,000 alumni around the world, congratulations on your outstanding achievement. I'm standing in front of you as a proud alumnus. I stepped onto campus in 1995, 22 years ago, or 24 years ago, hard to believe, looking to further my education, to elevate my pursuit and passion to lead in the nonprofit sector, to really serve my community. PSU gave me the tools, the confidence, and the strength to do just that, and it exceeded my expectations in preparing me for the work ahead. What I did not anticipate was the lifelong connection to the university community that has continued to support me, educate me, and connect me to the amazing people and resources. You should know from the moment you stepped on campus as students, you have been members of an incredible community, the Psu Alumni Association, which is your enduring link to the university, a lifelong resource of social, educational, and professional support that extends literally around the world. Wherever you live, wherever your life may lead you, whatever successes you may have, and whenever you may need to reach classmates and friends, be it professional or otherwise, please know that the PSU and the Alumni Association will always be your connection. Though you leave here today, Portland State will always be a part of you and here for you as you move through your personal and professional lives. The lessons you learned in our classrooms, from our professors and your classmates, will profoundly affect the rest of your lives. For this reason, I encourage you to always promote, support your university. Again, congratulations and best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, President Brown. I would also like to thank our faculty, a number of whom are with us today, for their efforts in guiding students to successful completion of your academic programs. Faculty expertise and dedication to our students is outstanding. Please join me in giving the faculty a deserving round of applause. Now to the graduates. I wish to pay a special tribute to the more than 1,000 undergraduate students graduating today with academic honors. Candidates graduating with honors can be identified by the cords worn with their regalia. Will those who are receiving Latin honors today please stand? Thank you. You may be seated. Our student speakers this year represent the highly talented class of 2019. Our first student representative is Omar Cazares Alvarez. Omar is receiving a Bachelor of Science today in biology. Our second student representative is Damien Lukas. Damien is receiving a Master's of Arts in Communications. Omar.
Bienvenido and good evening, one and all. Today we are here in this space as one large academic family. And just like my own familia, we have so many moments to rejoice in. While our academic pursuits may differ, we share common threads of perseverance and a lot of caffeine. And although we are unique in our own right, we have embarked on this journey to achieve something greater than ourselves. When it came to my own schooling, my path was not the most linear. After high school, I worked full-time and took evening classes until I reached a point where I had to fully commit myself to school. At first, the fear of venturing into the unknown terrified me. You see, I'm the son of immigrants. And in my family, my parents never had the opportunity to finish even their own childhood education. Regardless, they continue to teach me so much: persistence, ambition, and strength. These qualities helped soothe my worries, which soon faded as I found myself part of a community of like souls, all of you guys. Fellow students who shared my curiosity and excitement for learning. After my years here at PSU, I've definitely picked up a few things. First, take time to relax. Self-care is so important, regardless of what path you take in life. It's important not to push yourself so hard that you forget to enjoy this journey. Remember to buy extra Scantrons. Inevitably, someone in your class is going to forget to bring one come exam day, and I know many of you. And realize we're all different. Embrace that difference. We each have strengths and weaknesses, so we don't need to compare ourselves to anyone else. The moment we do, we lose sight of our true goals. So, here we are. Everyone, we did it. Our families and friends get to see the culmination of our ambitions. I honor the sacrifices that my parents have made for me to reach this point. As we honor the journey of all the families and friends, many of who are here today, who have stood alongside their loved ones. From these moments, from this moment, let us take these accolades, these shared memories, and go into the world and continue to build our path with pride. And hopefully, we will again meet someday. Thank you.
Graduates, you're amazing, inspiring, and powerful. We have overcome great obstacle and discomfort to get to this point. I want to first acknowledge that we didn't get here on our own. We've relied upon our family, our friends, our colleagues, and mentors. I'm proud to stand here and share a bit about my own experience, but I do first want to acknowledge my own family, my father, my mother, my in-laws, my daughters. And as Omar represented, we all build our own communities here at school, and so I have the most amazing writing partner of anybody, so I also want to mention that person. When I returned to PSU 3 years ago, I was seeking growth and comfort, and I was determined to finish my full-time education. It's natural to seek that comfort. How many times have you asked someone, "Are you comfortable with that?" or said, I'm just not comfortable with that. I've definitely said that. When I returned to school, I was actually able to attend daytime classes without work-related conflicts. And I really enjoyed that lifestyle for a brief period of time. And then I asked myself, what more could you do? So I wrote for the paper, and I joined the Student Fee Committee, and I joined Students United for Nonviolence. And each experience continued to inspire me and teach me more and more about the brilliant PSU community. I also delivered a few presentations and moderated an event. and I soon realized that I was actually operating well outside of my former comfort zone. I excelled, and when I was encouraged to apply for graduate school, I did. I quickly submitted my application, and then I think I bit every nail that I have because I was anxious, I was excited, and I was terrified all at the same time. Because you see, when you go for something that you really want, you're faced with the potential of true rejection, and you wait for that decision. Graduate school for me has been difficult. I hated it some days, and I truly loved it other days. I'm finishing with a 3.7 GPA and a new perspective. Thank you. And a new perspective on discomfort. I now understand that my discomfort has been a gift, a purposeful gift, like the tough love that we give our children. I'm looking at you. I've learned much more than before. I've relied on myself much more than before. I've experienced authentic kindness and harsh rejection. Discomfort hasn't limited my dreams. Rather, it's made me stronger, more capable, much more confident, and self-determined. So moving forward, graduates, ask yourselves, how can you make the biggest difference? And then do that. Fight through your discomfort as often as you must, and trust yourself. And together, let's imagine a world where our discomfort is simply an indication of the important work ahead of us. Thank you.
It is my great pleasure now to present an honorary degree to our PSU alum, Jack Oman. During his early years in college at the University of Minnesota, where he worked on the student newspaper, he both drew cartoons and wrote editorials. He became nationally syndicated at the age of 19, later joining the staff of the Oregonian newspaper in 1983. Nearly a decade later, Oman made a tough decision to return to college. He later enrolled at Portland State University in 1992, pursuing a history major as a member of the University Honors Program. From the Oregonian, he moved in 2013 to the Sacramento Bee, where, in addition to continuing his brilliant cartooning, he also writes a weekly column and several editorials. Over the course of his career, Oman has won numerous awards, notably the Robert F. Kennedy Prize, the Herb Block Award, and the Scripps Howard Prize. In addition, he was elected president of the American Association of Editorial Cartoonists in 2014. Even though he has moved to California, Jack continues his close and vital connection to Portland State University, returning to speak frequently on campus, both to classes and at alumni events. He's been a member of the Alumni Association, has served as an alumni ambassador, and has always been a strong and compelling voice in support of the university. And somewhere in this script is missing that I think you won a Pulitzer. There we go. Please give a round of applause to Jack Oman. It's my pleasure now to introduce our honored commencement speaker, United States Senator for Oregon, Jeff Merkley. The son of a millwright, Jeff was born in a small town in southern Oregon, and his family moved with the timber economy while he was growing up. Jeff began his career in public service as an intern with Oregon's past Senator Mark Hatfield, a former PSU instructor and namesake to our School of Government. After working in Washington, D.C., in both the Pentagon and at the Congressional Budget Office, Jeff came back to Oregon to work with families to build homes as the head of Portland's Habitat for Humanity. He later was the president of the Oregon World Affairs Council and was elected to the Oregon House of Representatives in 1998. In 2007, he became Speaker of the Oregon House and held that post until his election to the U.S. Senate. In 2009, he was sworn into the same Senate seat once held by Mark Hatfield. In the 9 years he's been in office, Jeff has been relentlessly focused on getting our nation back on track and making our country work for we the people once more. Making the American dream a reality for others is what got Jeff involved in public life and is what keeps him fighting for America's working families. Please welcome Senator Jeff Merkley.
Well, thank you so much, Susan, and for inviting me to join you all today. They lent me this gown and scarf, and suddenly I felt like, wow, I'm smart again, just like you all are right now. Well, over my life, I've watched Portland State University grow to be a premier urban university, providing excellent opportunities for Oregon students and making enormous contributions to the city and state. And I love the motto, let knowledge serve the city. And there's just continuous new developments along that theme. One of them is the new project for homelessness research and action collaboration. Portland State University is going to be in the middle of working to understand and solve the challenge of homelessness here in Portland and in America. Well done, Portland State. And they're launching another project, a digital city testbed center, to take technology and figure out how that technology can make cities safer, more accessible, more healthy, and more climate friendly. And so thank you for driving the use of technology, knowledge, to make the city better. Well done with that project as well, and I look forward to the results. So today we're here to offer congratulations. And I'm just stunned by how much the university has grown, how many graduates there are, how many family and friends have come to say to all of you, well done. You have taken a huge step forward in seizing your life and seizing the American dream. And that dream means something different to different folks. But to me, it means that each individual, no matter which side of the railroad tracks you come from, no matter your zip code, no matter whether you're the son and daughter of an executive or a mechanic, as I am, you have the same opportunity to realize one's potential, to earn a full share, a full stake in the economy, and to have a strong foundation for raising your own children, and to participate fully in civic life and give back. I was thinking about how this term came to be. There was an American historian, his name was James Truslow Adams, and he was pondering in the depths of the Great Depression what made the American spirit special and distinct. And he summed it up as a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each, and where each generation can build on the successes of the previous generation. Well, when I think about those concepts, I see that in all of you, that you are building on the generations that came before to build a stronger, better community and city and nation. And the heart of that vision is education. Now, my mother and father had advice for me, and my mother said these three things. Do your best, do what's right, and never ever step on anybody else to get ahead. I think if my mother had 10 minutes with a few of our national leaders, they might change some of their views. My father was a millwright, the mechanic that keeps a sawmill running. And he hadn't gone to college, nor had my mother, but he valued education. And when I was in grade school, he pointed to the schoolhouse doors, and he said, if you go through those doors and you work hard, you can do just about anything, because we're so fortunate to live here in America. Well, that's a vision. The opportunity to seize the day and the opportunity, and you all have seized that day. And some of you, like me, were the first in your family to go to college, and that requires a cultural leap, something that was challenging for me. And I'd just like to invite all of our students who are graduating who were the first in your family to go to college to stand up. Well done. Well, for me, this always feels an emotional moment because I can personally recognize the challenges involved. Some of you achieved your degree despite significant financial hurdles. And some of you have been holding down one or more jobs. I talked to 2 students today who had been working 3 jobs at a time during the time they were in college. I don't know how you had any time to study or managed to pass your classes with 3 jobs, but you did it. Some of you have been raising children, and that is an additional challenge. And some of you had to take a break from your studies to address the complexities of life and then resume your studies later on. It's not been easy, but you've overcome these hurdles. Not only have you gained an education, you have gained the knowledge and confidence that when life throws an obstacle in your path, a barrier, a hurdle, you can still find a way to persevere and achieve the goal that you have set. And that knowledge, that experience, that confidence that you can overcome those hurdles, that is invaluable, and that's probably as valuable as what you learned in the classroom in the course of study. And whatever else you do in life, carry that lesson with you. Because unless you are a rare individual leading a particularly charmed life, there's going to be more challenges to come. That's just how life works. It's a long and winding road. And I was thinking about a couple of those moments in my winding road that seemed particularly challenging. One of them was when I started college. My parents hadn't gone to college, and nobody in my community had gone to college, and we didn't talk about college, and I didn't understand college. And I arrived on the first day in the dormitory, and on the desk in the dormitory room was a book with all the courses in it. It was about an inch thick. And I suddenly realized I had no idea what classes I was going to sign up for at college. I had gotten into college kind of with a emphasis on math. That's the way my mind's wired, but suddenly I wanted to explore the world and take all these other courses, and I was just a huge dilemma. And then I discovered everybody around me seemed to already know what they were going to do and what they were going to sign up for. Well, that sense of terror didn't dissolve quickly. For 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year, I just took whatever sounded interesting. Philosophy, religion, some foreign languages, some economics, some political science. And I'm not sure how you graduate if you don't have a major. And so I was pretty worried about the path and pondering what can I study that will contribute to doing something worthwhile in this world. So I dropped out for a year. So I was one of those who took time out to figure things out. And during that year, I waited tables, I worked at a hotel desk clerk, I went door to door for a consumer congress, knocking on doors and educating people about peak load pricing and some environmental issues. I did a whole bunch of things, but I figured it out step by step and figured out if I did a self-designed major, I could actually put together enough courses to graduate with a degree within 4 years. And so that was the miracle that saved me, with an emphasis on international relations. And I went on to work in that area. And I was studying, or not studying, but working initially on economic development for poor countries. I thought that was something worthwhile to do. Healthcare and housing overseas, education. And then I had the opportunity, was invited to work on a completely different thing, that totally unexpected, nuclear deterrence, how to keep the world from being blown up by nuclear weapons. And so I took that position because my conscience said, well, that's something important. You don't want the world blown up by nuclear weapons. And as that progressed, there came a point where I was supposed to write a study on the stealth bomber. And the stealth bomber was a very, very expensive weapon, the most expensive in our history, but it didn't actually have a clear mission. So it was kept classified in what they call compartmentalized classification, so that analysts like me couldn't write a study and tell Congress that it didn't really have a clear mission. And so I took a leave of absence and started building a house, rebuilding a house, replumbing, rewiring, gutting a house, rebuilding it, changing all the walls, cantilevering a balcony into a tree to make it into a tree house. That project didn't take 6 months. I never made it back to work anymore on nuclear deterrence. It took 2.5 years. But my friends all thought I was crazy, abandoning all that study and all that work and the career in the middle, and they thought this was the craziest possible thing to do. And their concerns made me wonder if, in fact, I'd made a major mistake. But, you know, that house came in a powerful way. First of all, as I'm rebuilding it, my roommate invited to our house. He was volunteering at a shelter. He invited one of the shelter workers, Mary Soderberg, to come to our house for dinner. And she came to our dinner, and I fell in love and met my soulmate. So that house project changed my life dramatically. And then she went over to work in India with Mother Teresa. And the idea was she was going to go for 4 months, and she was going to come back, and we were going to get married and move to Oregon. And this sounded like a great plan to me. But she comes back, and she is stunned by the contrast between India and the United States, the amount of materialism in the United States. And she is inspired by the powerful mission of Mother Teresa's order to assist the poorest of the poor. So, little competition there. Jeff Merkley, Mother Teresa. Jeff Merkley, Mother Teresa. And so we canceled our wedding. We drove west. She went to a retreat center to work in the mountains of Washington State. I came to Portland to come home, back to Oregon. I'm finally making it home, back to where my heart is. And things didn't go so well. First, I couldn't find a job. It turns out that nuclear deterrence knowledge or career is not in high demand in Portland. And so I had spent all my money rebuilding this house back east. I had no job. I had my wonderful Airedale partner, the best type of dogs there are in the world, the biggest of the terriers, and Misty. She'd gone with me everywhere through so much. She got an infection and died. And then I got a letter from Mary. And Mary said, well, we need to break up so that she could ponder her choices in the road ahead with a clear head. So there it was, I'm mid-30s, no money, no job, no dog, and no soulmate. All right, that was pretty rough. I think there is a country western song in there somewhere. But I got up each day and I volunteered for Habitat for Humanity. They had a motto that you and I can disagree on everything, but we can agree to pick up hammers and help build a home for a family in need. And I loved that, and that volunteer work, well, thank you very much for applauding Habitat for Humanity. They do wonderful things, and I'm sure many of you have volunteered with them. So as I volunteered, that turned into a job, and I got my feet back on the ground. And eventually, Mary cleared her head and said, yes, let's get married. And we got married the following year, and she has been my soulmate throughout my life. As you hit challenges in life, yeah, thank you, Mary. I just encourage you to carry with you the experience and tenacity that you have developed in the course of your work leading to your degrees. That there will always be more challenges to come. And when the world says to you, when you have an idea and you have a project and you have just a course that you want to pursue and they say you cannot, be ready to say, yes, I can. Yes, I can. And if the world says, no, not now, wait 10 years, say, no, right now, yes, now. Have the courage to take that idea that you have and pursue it. We're celebrating your accomplishments tonight, but we're really celebrating an impact on all of us. Because when an individual succeeds, the families are stronger, the communities are stronger. When an individual succeeds, it lifts up the entire national economy. That's why, as a nation, we have to make sure that the pathway to college education is a wide, well-paved path. Now, I'm suspecting that a few of you graduating today worried at one time or another about the high cost of earning a degree. Anybody ever worry about that? I bet some parents and grandparents and family members worried about it as well. I saw, coming down the aisle here, I saw a hat that said on it, Game of Loans. If that student wants to wave her hat for us down there right on the aisle, there it is, Game of Loans. So the cost of college has risen faster than anything else in our economy, faster than a gallon of gas, faster than the hyperinflation in healthcare. So here's what we have to do as a community and as a nation. We have to invest a lot more public dollars in education so our students bear a lot less of the burden. And if borrowing is necessary, it should be minimal. And it should be at the same low interest rate the big banks get when they borrow from the federal government. We've got to work all together so that the opportunity I had to go to college, the opportunity that all of you have had to go to college, is an opportunity available to every single American, no matter which side of the railroad tracks you come from. As you go forward, I hope you'll take some of that education experience and help tackle the challenges we face. Now, I like a lot the motto, let knowledge serve the city, but now you're graduating, and you get to think more expansively, and you get to think about how your knowledge can serve the world. Now, I had a vision that my generation would get out of college and within 10 years we'd tackle all the big problems, and all you'd have to do is do a little bit of fine-tuning to keep us on track. So much for that plan. Because challenges still remain, and some challenges have really grown. We have more prejudice and bigotry tearing at the seams of our nation. We have what I consider to be the mistreatment of refugees at the border with child separation and 15,000 children locked up in prisons. We have dysfunction in our constitutional government system of gerrymandering and voter suppression, unidentified dark money tainting our elections, and it drives cynicism, and it destroys our problem-solving capacity of our governance. So we have to think about how we solve that. And we're underinvesting in healthcare and housing and education and infrastructure and jobs, making life more challenging for working families. And we have more carbon pollution driving climate chaos. Now, as I talk to students today, many raise this issue. And so I thought I'd try a little experiment with all of you here as an exercise. I'm going to invite you to breathe in a lungful of air and hold it for 3 seconds. Okay, ready? Okay, breathe in. Breathe out. Now you're wondering, why did I have you do that? That air in your lungs has 33% more carbon in it than when I was born. And that's a phenomenal change never experienced by any generation, any human generation, or any time before we walked this earth. That radical change in a single period. And the impacts we're seeing in longer, hotter fire seasons and smaller snowpacks affecting irrigation water and the health of our streams, a more acidic ocean damaging our shellfish industry. So, as we consider these challenges, I hope you'll use your knowledge in ways small and large to help address them. And here's the thing. I mention these things not because they are large and depressing, but because I'm excited about the potential that you have, the tools that you have developed to help tackle these issues and set things right in the next years to come, and we're counting on you. So many small ways to participate: volunteering at the food bank, or start making a Reader Today tutor, or reaching out to a friend or a group that is the target of prejudice or bigotry. So many ways, and so many ways to help make a more sustainable planet. Ernest Hemingway observed, he put it this way, he said, "The earth is a fine place and worth fighting for." Yes, it is. And perhaps some of you will seek out jobs in addition to volunteering that will help take on these challenges. In either case, service feeds the soul. If you want a life of satisfaction, find ways, small or large, to do service, to bring joy to others, and that joy will be returned to you 100 times over. Cesar Chavez said, "Grant me the courage to serve others, for in service there is true life." So congratulations to the class of 2019. May your generation help build a nation where every individual has the opportunity to thrive. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Senator Merkley, for being with us here today. We are inspired by your leadership and your words. President Percy, here with us today are candidates who have completed all requirements for the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy. Will the candidates for doctoral degrees please rise? On behalf of the deans of the schools and colleges and the faculty, I am pleased and honored to present the candidates for the highest degrees awarded by the university. The names of those awarded doctoral degrees are listed in your program, along with the titles of their dissertations. President Percy, I recommend that these candidates be awarded their respective doctoral degrees.
On the recommendation of the graduate faculty and the authority of the Portland State University Board of Trustees, I am pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctorate of Philosophy. Will all of you, together with your advisors, come forward to be recognized?
Dr. Gilbert David Miller, Field Earth, Environment, and Society, hooded by Craig Shin. Dr. Gisela Rodriguez Fernandez, Sociology, hooded by Dr. Daniel Jaffe. Dr. Daniel Close Larson, Earth, Environment, and Society, hooded by Heejun Chang. Dr. Erin Nicole Looper, Earth, Environment, and Society, hooded by Dr. Jennifer Morse. Dr. Kelly Stewart, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Keith Kaufman. Dr. Amy Leigh Shearer, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Craig Townley. Dr. Nicholas Anthony Smith, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Jennifer Dimoff. Dr. Lale Yaldis, Applied Psychology, hooded by Donald Trexillo. Dr. Grant Brady, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Donald Trexillo. Dr. Jacqueline Marie Brady, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Leslie Hammer. Dr. Alicia Rochelle Starkey, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Cynthia Moore. Dr. Emily Ann Saxton, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Ellen Skinner. Dr. Pablo Enrique Valdivieso, Mathematical Sciences, hooded by Dr. Peter Vreeman. Dr. Alexandra Elizabeth Nielsen, System Science, hooded by Dr. Wayne Wakeland.
Will the candidates for master's degrees please rise and remain standing? President Percy, I recommend to you the candidates for the master's degrees in the fields offered at Portland State University.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and with the authority of the Portland State University Board of Trustees, I am pleased to confer upon you the respective master's degrees that you have earned at Portland State University. Congratulations to each of you. When you come forward with your faculty marshal, you'll be introduced and greeted. Guests of graduates may listen for the graduates program to be called. A color guide for your regalia may be found in the commencement program on page 5.
Damien Lukas, Student Speaker, PM.
Masters in Professional and Tech Writing.
Masters in Mathematics.
Casey Armstrong.
Maricela McKay.
Henry Covey.
Jose Ortiz.
Masters in Book Publishing. Asa Grigsby.
Kyle Odson.
Masters in Communication. Samantha Reynolds.
Andre Paul.
Laura Glass.
Michelle Dunaway. Rosalie Kelly.
Masters in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. Lamia Al-Saharani.
James Dunn.
Jake Malmstrom.
Masters in Geology.
Laura Cowley Martinson.
Darby Scanlon.
Cameron Lombardo.
Masters in Statistics.
Santiago Agustin.
Danny Duncan.
Grace Lee.
Adam Macbale.
Sasha Reinwald Albrecht.
Masters in System Science.
Mika Sakai.
Catherine Clift. Peter Rolfe. Masters in Environmental Science and Management, Haley Wallace. Barbie Moreland. Masters in Science Teaching, Ciara Green. Masters in Sociology, Carl Appleton, Jr. Daniel Mackin Freeman. Masters in World Languages, Narumi Iwasaki. Jitsuya Nishiyama. Sarah Kermoyan. Natalie Quiroga. Bele Yu. Kimberly Lynn Moisen. Christopher Michael Scheffler. Whitney Head Burgess. Masters in Conflict Resolution, Ashley Shamba. Austin Averett. Lauren Rook.
Will all the candidates for baccalaureate degrees and certificates rise and remain standing? President Percy, I present to you the candidates for baccalaureate degrees and candidates for certificates in the fields offered at Portland State University. I recommend the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science, and the candidates for certificates.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and with the authority of the Portland State University Board of Trustees, I am pleased to confer upon you the respective baccalaureate degrees and certificates which you have earned at Portland State. Congratulations to each of you. You may be seated. Will the faculty marshals now lead the baccalaureate candidates forward to be introduced and greeted by their dean?
Anthropology, Alexander Albertson.
Physics, Lucas Scott Mendoza.
Shannon Thornburg.
Ging Martin.
Christy Armstrong.
Casey Ackerhelm.
Elizabeth Abbott.
Kyle Botel.
Annie Amsden.
Nohan Cruz.
Kyle Clark.
Takuma Sato Duncan.
Erica Valmer Poopy.
Omar Cazares Alvarez.
Bowie Twombly.
Omar Algamad.
Matthew Ledbetter.
Alan McLary.
Zachariah Furrow.
Dylan Bratlick.
Brandy Johnson Valdez.
Joshua Erb.
Hannah Morris.
Chase Rogers.
Amanda Jenkins.
Carlos Hernandez.
Autumn Martinez.
Nathan Jones.
Kayla Fontenot.
Marie Valens.
Emily Dahl.
Julia Willingham.
Sydney Hope.
Aaron Blakely Bangs.
Jennifer Beltran.
Laken Nelson.
Alexandra Carr.
Amberly Remley.
Jonas Zito.
Paula Tamio.
Miles Rhodes.
Brandon Langwa.
Jordan Olson.
Joseph Taylor.
Applied Linguistics. Dustin Lanker.
Patrick Isles.
Cameron Hughes.
Dylan Richmond.
Megan Peckover.
Bert Logan.
Taylor Stipe.
Gabriel Hammond Savicra.
Ramin Toki.
Nicholas Aminetti.
Mitch Quithley.
Jeremiah Perry-Weed.
Ian Huffnagel.
Dmitry Cherchenko.
Matthew Lentz.
Zamira Butuk.
Dominique O'Donnell.
Nicholas Johnson.
Arts and Letters. Savannah Kitchen.
Yao Chu Song.
Allison Thompson.
Marcus Epting.
Michaela Sheldrake.
Psychology. Whitney Michelle Tillman.
Danielle Porter.
Estella Valicenti.
Emily Corona.
Jeremiah Cohen.
Natalie Haywood.
Maria Hayes.
Mona McDonald.
Ileana Huidor.
Keenan Koenig.
Cynthia Butler.
Nicholas Wavers.
Olivia Yoder.
Casey Garcia.
Jennifer Saucedo.
Emily Ray.
Mara Morfin Estrada.
Zoe Rudzinski.
Vanessa Batuleon.
Mo Griswold.
Naaman Franklin.
Daniela Hernandez.
Thomas Sternad.
Marcus Maloof.
Marisol Villaprando.
Andrea Robertson.
Arcelia Pena Baltazar.
Victoria Grimmett.
Radhika Kaushal.
Jessica Sturton.
Alicia Pavlenko.
Nicholas Irwin.
Jewel Calindris.
Rachel Rounds.
Justine Laley.
Caitlin Stein.
Angel Stempert.
Emily Weinberg.
Elise Helms.
Jun Chao Wang.
Tamani McLean.
Siobhan Muckenstree.
Lacey Stratton.
Megan Lofquist.
Michelle Polito.
Alexis Ann Renee Martinez.
Kirsten Swanberg.
Brian Hitchcock.
Jasmine Aguilar Mata.
Keegan Winkle.
Karen Garcia Rodriguez.
Victor Moen.
Maria Hernandez Espinal.
Natalie Garnier.
Cassidy Herb.
Ashley Frey.
Megan Wilkinson.
April Eckhart.
Zane Eby.
Cesar Kadabayan.
Brian Roberts.
Nawal Mursal.
Lauren Sky Brown.
Shaween Ziai.
Mary Waddell.
Sarah Hannon.
Jamie Rex.
Eddie Bautista Contreras.
Jenna Diane Lansdowne.
Karen Anchel.
Jeanette Slagle.
Jacqueline Alvarado.
Kaylee Alvarez Calderon.
Gabrielle Cotton.
Amanda Hendrickson.
Jordan Mitchell.
Jalissa Baltazar.
Victoria Gallegos.
Chelsea Pham.
Claire Louise Gilchrist.
Dina Mustafa.
Hassan Mustafa.
Erica Matthews.
James Kwan.
Julia Lightsey.
Biology. Jessica Sheets.
Robin Miller.
Alexis Altamirano.
Kimberly Burns.
Renea Jamil.
Joseph Dinavillis.
Arya Javahari.
Robert Heiberg.
Yelisei Gurzi.
Devin Dakisto.
Mohsin Asadi.
Stephanie Larson.
Elizabeth Myers.
Tessa Wright.
Kaylee Barnett.
Jose Mendez Cepeda.
Brent Marcinet.
Cheyenne Kohler.
Shasta Wilson.
Michelle Jordan.
Saba Fazeli.
Marissa Haiti.
Priscilla Herrera Quintero.
Brenna McGill.
Cheyenne Ubadi.
Brittany Willick.
Bryce Madrid.
Stephanie Lopez.
Rachel Ferguson.
Rachel Ressler.
Hannah Zarnick.
Natalia Stoner.
Mariama Igiaal.
Emily Moxon.
Courtney Cohn.
Christine King.
Janan Abudallah.
Sherry Foland.
Alexandria Paola.
Hannah Solberg.
Elisa India Amana Olson.
Casey Lowry.
Ashley Olson.
Shuita Mansing.
Sydney Robertson.
Allison Bautista.
Dakota Patrick White.
Shaylin Reynolds.
Lacey Novak.
Braden Martinez.
Alex Luttrell.
Jamie Goodwin.
Sky Cutler.
Maya Eastwood.
Kevin Fryer.
Uri Sarai.
Alana Gione.
Aurora Echo Schroeder.
Courtney Volk.
Noemi Zabetta.
Keshara Bandara.
Alicia Asri.
Valeria Vasquez Trejo.
Jennifer Rubenstein.
Tammy Pham.
Catherine Bannerman.
Allison Angel DeCow.
Mimi Claire Leggett. Brittany Shea Jewell.
Manaz Rizai.
Shalon McMillan,
Miranda Corona,
Bonnie Sutterly,
Caitlin Seyfan,
Ashley Isom,
Connor Dyer,
Nicholas Holder,
Anastasia Desnuk,
Madeline Daisy,
Angelica Mendez Varela,
Lena Hodovin,
Sarah Jones,
Vitaly Pochtarov,
Anna Zentner,
JC Blocky,
Vishnu Reddy,
Ashley Lloyd, Jennifer Jarvis Drew,
Tali Milstein,
Madeline Dillon,
Mackenzie Michelle Myers, Scarlett Passmore,
Silvia Rodriguez Pence,
Rachel Testerman,
Brady Huffman,
Samantha Brown,
Hallie Becker,
Kyla Peterson,
Jimmy Rojas,
Haley Cartmill,
Chad Riggenbach,
Garrick Osterhold,
Kathleen Hickey,
Tyler Betger, Yesenia Segovia Madrigal,
Tirit Somanan,
Brent Beaver,
Samantha Masick,
Alexandra Gallegos,
Ashley Moat,
Raymond Kirby,
Stephanie Hawk,
Samantha Duran,
Stephanie Paulson,
Song John,
Araceli Moreno Loa,
Paulina Zahn,
Laura Honorato,
Veronica Ivanov,
Alyssa Bob,
Kyle Robbins,
Stephanie Rodriguez,
Nicole Corser,
Amina Hossein,
Christian Dinanan,
Ashlyn Steinball,
Caitlin Thomas,
Parker Angeles,
Caitlin Gordon,
Elena Perez,
Christopher Sirakowski,
Thomas Rounds,
Emma Weber,
Monakai Eisen,
Anthony Daughter,
Aaron Monakai Eisen,
Dakota Cooper,
Marcy Denny,
Amber Nicole Reed,
Bethany Newman,
George Farr,
Sydney Barrow,
Matthew Stenson,
Alexis Mather,
Lindsay Munoz Franco,
Jessica Lucasio,
Richard Topete,
Zoe Jones,
Zach Kittrell,
David Atkinson,
Reina Perez Cervantes,
Jordan Helfer,
Shiva Talai,
Jenny Wechter,
Mohammed Zafar Rizai,
Taylor Carson, Jaceli Guzman,
Taade Teo,
Virginia Johnson,
Tenzin Kundin,
Joanne Enos,
Jirakit Limkulakam,
Avery Yamashita,
Trinity Jurowski,
Jacqueline Pardo Morales,
Sebastian Branton,
Desiree Collins,
Amir Jafari,
Amber Schwartz,
Taiki Kajiyama.
Samantha Rice.
Marco Marcella.
Chanel Paris.
Olivia Burke. Trent Hardesty.
Julia Gullickson.
Brandon Kaiser.
Tanner Cockel.
Corinne Kaiser.
Tyler Brawley.
Tamara Pileski.
Emily Jingyu Faye Green.
Catherine Vu.
Trisha Poinsett.
Sashini Kumarapeli.
Sophia Clark.
Raul Vega Juarez.
Morgan Sparks.
Kenya Rodriguez Espinoza.
Michelle Maya.
Armando Trujillo.
Marcela Alejandra Tupayachi Unda.
Dalia Wafa'i.
Brody Armstrong.
Efrain Chavez Martinez.
Drake Mezzanato.
Ahmad Al-Shamsi.
Jesus Macias.
Nadius Barnawi.
Alex Floyd.
Macrina Kamel.
Oscar Hamilton.
Samuel Hilly.
Austin Mettler.
Manshi Patel.
Hannah Stewart.
Aspen Lindsay.
Natalie Hahn.
Helen Lee.
Kimberly Kane.
Annalie Pham.
Carolina Mishenko.
Anne Pham.
Jessica Spain.
Sophia Voronoff.
Alexis Kura.
Leilani Lealii Shadin.
Kelsey Nishimura.
Marilyn Rivera.
Gabrielle Patrick.
Akeko de la Cruz.
Lori Jimenez.
Madison Plummer.
Maribel Legaria Cisneros.
Alexis Crutch.
Justin Navarro.
Jennifer Aguirre Reyes.
Joseph Cassidy.
Alisa Bonillas.
Molly Wolliver.
Black Studies. Dejane McClyde.
Elizabeth Rodriguez.
Chemistry. Deja Brooks.
Michelle Kovalev.
Brandy Border.
Clara Edmonds.
Maggie Rose.
May Sapan.
Michaela Whitley.
Okay. Rafael Cran.
Loreto Ramos.
Natasha Vanderwall.
Yanbo Wang.
Kelsey Payne.
Summer Cochran.
Danielle Ashley Garcia.
Yekaterina Chimik.
Haley Smart.
Sarah Ahmed.
Shiloh Ayala.
Tasneem Al-Makhtari.
Alaska Ogden.
Elizabeth Perez.
Alexandra Schuler.
Alexander Shannon Brown.
Alexis Eubanks.
Summer Hawthorne.
Mia Clark.
Laura Brown.
Michelle Cardenas.
Fidel Ferrer.
Jennifer Cardenas.
Abubakar Mohammed Noor.
Lisa Wickham.
Hamza Sawab.
Ileana Gonzalez.
Johnny Yao.
Basil Alfredage.
Naoto Tozaki.
Mateus Michaels.
Yusuf Hasware.
Jonathan Navarro.
Henry Wu.
Natalie Hine.
Alexander Fedchuk.
Heidi Bywaters Noriega.
Clayton Pessoa.
Cynthia Vides Guerra.
Ween Pham.
Aaron Carper.
Hong Van.
Science.
Cho Win.
Diana Abdel Jawad.
Communication Studies. Tasha Channel.
Nicole Prokopoi.
Caitlin Malik.
Jennifer Lucia Reina.
Monica Juarez.
Carol Salmo.
Lotus Romeo.
Freshta Rezai, mother.
Kainoa
daughter.
Pesdana.
Roya Rezai, mother.
Anastasia Lewis.
Marina Youssef.
Alyssa Ovenshine.
Merit Roshdi.
Brianna Gerbazy.
Johanna Lalance Lewis.
Giselle Moore.
Bishoy Mayer.
Cassandra Koru.
V. Long.
Kim Gonzalez.
Ivy Wynn.
Nolan Welch.
Joshua Liang.
Domenico Vesia.
Asil Kurundarat.
Ras Mostagimi.
Alejandro Manriquez.
Christine Wynn.
Alexander Piedmont.
Demetra Fields.
Jared Globo.
Bailey Seibel.
Vitalina Vakulchik.
Zoellen Fulmer.
Autumn Linseth.
Ashley Peters.
Heather Hamilton.
Elizabeth Bramlett.
Omar Ordaz Johnson.
Coco Udama.
Jesse Philip Benefil.
Crystal Victoria Requejo de Ramos.
Olga Krausar.
Morgan Sky Matthews.
Andrew Conboy.
Maxine Rose Nagramada.
Rafal Decker.
Michael Cole Hall.
Maria Mikhailov.
Kayla Claire Morrow.
Annika Leah McDowell.
Allison Schweitzer.
Tina Vong.
Juliana Udlock.
Amanda Kamsuthavong.
Alina Gvotsdikova.
Kevin Wynn.
Caitlin McCoy.
Wajid Rahil.
Rachel Butler.
Emily Kov.
Catherine Morris.
Brandon Brown.
Gabriella Schmidt.
Kaylin Haynes.
Karsten Hansen.
Jack Dean.
Cynthia Yakis.
Hannah Pyland.
Emmanuel Camacho.
Joshua Toole.
Jessica Dvorak.
Peter Sirlenitsa,
Hannah Cantrell,
Tanner Ward,
Brittany Wells,
Frank O'Gwyn,
Michaela Nadora,
Serge Trubinsky,
Isaac P.,
Michael Trubinsky,
Cecilia Lewis,
Daniel Torres,
Samantha Andrea Garcia,
Ty Lyon,
Nandita Kumar,
Carly Moser,
Sophia Criswell,
Justin Amesbury,
Adam Holland,
Jasmine Sadak,
Martin Pantoja,
Roxanne Gregg,
Samuel Bodine,
Keely Corrigan,
Kason Juckett,
Victor Smith Lapp,
Alexander White,
Paul Kriskoviak,
Brandy Simmons,
Sarah Nidick,
Ava Patterson,
Lucas Gillette,
Brianna Drogi,
Samantha Lee Gabbard,
Margaret Christine Rose,
Annalise Nguyen,
Michelle Tongren,
Mahmoud Kella,
Cami Harbick,
Hamza Salim,
Holly Ray Brown,
Tariq Oda,
Joy Hashimoto,
Vivian Tong Wen,
Sebastian Sanchez,
Susan Lai,
Angelina Mickno,
Angela Shep,
Annalise Pixler,
Shel Meng,
Jennifer Arroyo,
Hui Duan,
Rachel Fullwider,
Jesus John Susi,
Eric Adan Portillo,
Song Tao Truan,
Brian McLoyne,
Helen Tam,
Chris Gaylord,
Zaira Carenza,
Jennifer Vo Win,
Shally Wolf,
Oluwagabenga Akande,
Meghna Patel,
Drew Stormont,
Angela Nasseri,
Madison Powell,
Shanaz Ahmed,
Karina Santa Cruz,
Farah Meckery,
Jenna Coliff,
Pili Aloha Chong,
Kelsey Turnbull Pedrazzini,
Kirsty Hool,
Allie Foreman,
Social science. Rainier Balboa,
Saya Houllier,
Mark Bohoffer,
Ameri Kaneda,
Carissa Palmer,
Hazuki Toya,
Douglas Landreth,
Travis Bruce Triber,
Linda Sue,
Jessica Lay,
Cleopatra Odell,
Jeannie Yang,
Ember Rivera,
Elijah Jury,
Brittany Entwistle,
Valeria Santa Cruz,
Emily Porter,
Amanda Acevedo,
Alexandra Pierce.
Samuel Koppel.
Megan Hartel.
Conflict resolution. Alec Chapa.
Joshua Seach.
Rachel Fessenden.
Ezekiel Antonio Thomas.
Brianna McCormick.
Terrence Coleman.
Cassandra Kress.
Erica Stewart.
Megan Fuentes.
Brianna Hill.
Carolyn Evans.
Casey Foster.
Kimberly Dinwiddie Webb.
Rachel Moore.
Creative writing, Connor Lucy.
Jordan Scholler.
Ross Showalter.
Emily Johansson.
Jessica Vincent.
Sarah Meyer.
English, Mary Gibson.
Kimitha Stallings.
Devin Yen Radke.
Callie Lathrop.
Julianne Pearson.
Zawena Bett.
Jacob Ryan Davis.
Zariah Imani Uder.
Ladell Hobson. Victoria Crossman.
Cody Saving.
Andy Madsen.
Danielle Mabin. Jasmine Foster.
Devin Kreklowicz.
Yulisa Flores Lopez.
Elsie Mae Ito.
Jenny Chaplow.
Morgan Watkins.
Mariah Knapp.
Rachel Dutton.
Nicole Warner.
Mariana Costa.
Kevin Liamba.
Laura Chance.
Amarisha Culver Farmer.
Earth Science. Dallin Burnett.
Keely Luther.
Sean Barrett.
Jade Shiat.
Gregory Woolley.
Jamila Meyer Foote.
Iris Avalos.
Aisha Hakeem.
Sierra Kling.
Callisti Ray Kennelly Lundberg.
Genevieve McDaniel.
Savannah Ramirez.
Lauren Copeland.
Isadora Coates.
Jonathan Gomez.
Ella Booth.
Keegan Crawford.
Genesis Banulios.
Zaji Cox.
Christy Robinson.
Sean Carberry.
Emily Gunnis.
Karen Elizabeth Benitez.
Rachel Merchant.
Rachel Warden.
Bridget Strong.
Noah Papera Rudd.
Sharon Melgoza.
Curtis Jewell.
Asunia Areola.
Matt Rubik.
Janesta Small.
Jordan Martinez.
Maria Rodriguez.
Hadley Heck.
Malia Gehring.
Narwan Amini.
Mason Hartley.
Yasmin Ayub.
Grace Hartley.
Audrey Farrell.
Jenna Willis.
Corey Shademan.
Alondra Garcia Cabrero.
Kirsten Benson.
Elizabeth Hoagland.
Andrew Sasser.
Samantha Schultz.
Savannah Hoyer.
Christy Bess.
Mandy Dietering.
Corin Evans.
Sandra Grover.
Hannah Richardson.
Amanda Garcia.
Alex Rand.
Carissa Siglia.
Victoria Blashinsky.
Alexandria Penza.
Daniel Garcia.
Environmental Sciences and Environmental Studies. Marcus Penza.
Matthew Knaus.
Emily Waters.
Douglas McKinney.
Kenna Pacheco.
Sarah Ector.
Scott Holland.
Linnea Balmer.
Carl Hess.
Rachel Valencia.
Summer Dean.
Nicholas Belgard.
Devin Van Leuven.
Mackenzie McDowell.
Robert Miller.
Rafael Medina.
Jennifer Malgren.
Erko Philip Eiton.
Hannah Scruggs.
Michael Bennett.
Rebecca Maria Gosain.
Carlos J.R. Kecom.
Amy Valine.
Brianna Medeiros.
Matt Tsukimoto.
Monica Darrens.
Kylie Cunningham. Anastasia Blunk.
Natasha Valashina.
Brianna Swilling.
Hayden Allen Stockwell.
Amber Mian Brecamontes.
Sonia Orozco.
Shauna Lodi.
Taralee O'Connor.
Julia Tier.
Caroline Holly.
Raina Koberstein.
Jennifer Trepazzo.
Tyler Bryant. Mia Nako.
Alifa Cretan. Lean Tran.
Modi Raduma.
Lean Tran.
Joseph Schmidt.
Carrie Pittioni. Erica Decree.
Robert Schiavone.
Cassandra Bucherer.
Mogwai Turner.
Jessica Elizabeth Lobo.
Kayla Segra.
Stephen Younger.
Christina Grasso.
Gigi Cho.
Hannah Bradshaw.
Anthony Del Toro.
Kelly Herbell.
Kenton Bartlett.
Samantha Jones.
Houston Barnes.
Stephen Ryan.
Derek Brown, Jr.
Scott Schleif.
Jamie Orm.
Bruce Bowers.
Deontay Strickland.
Tess Carlin.
Molly Hickman.
Emma Downey.
Kelly Riggs.
Jensen Perrick.
Cassandra Donovan.
Megan Duenas.
Samantha Nettles.
Megan McNeil.
Susanna Robinson.
Lake Whiting.
Thomas Dreyer.
Geography. Charlie Hughes.
Megan Evans.
Lawrence Stanfill Ill.
Reggie Wright.
Brian Sudavong.
Jimmy Hazen.
Sebastian Morninski Olson.
Yesenia Orozco Relis.
Haley Morris.
Ashton Murdoch.
Alexander Fager.
Rebecca Wu.
Brian Mitchie.
Jude Tadeus.
Gabrielle Van Steenberg.
Robin Lynn Williamson.
Eric Mirror.
Sean Ford.
Brittany Byro.
Eric Schmidt.
Christy Short.
Alina Zeke.
Noura Alwazan.
Emily Black.
Brett Nelson.
Amanda Biggs.
Trevor Kim.
Keisha Macias.
Anthony Holmes.
Laura Fitzgerald. Trinette Nichols.
Chris Baker.
Samantha Paul.
Geology, Jazzy Graham Davis.
Sociology, Janet Garcia Gomez.
Kylie Barber.
Faith Tao.
Iris Romo.
Carson McNamara.
Yassine Abul Sayen.
Haley Fisher.
Bonnie Baker.
Winter Manisto Sari.
Chanel Dvorak.
Alyssa Mateen.
Kayla Osborne.
Olivia Agrusa.
Christian Sifford.
Rowan Grant.
Lucinda Veronizan.
Daniel Hager.
Elisa Orr.
Chad Kornak.
Shayna Jones.
Chloe Pastori.
Kristen Anderson.
Christopher Chester.
May Sazla.
Bill Moyer.
Jennifer Narvaez.
Jalisa Gonzalez.
Sakiko Nutilla.
Ariana Dato.
Connor Baus.
Chanel Eisen.
Benjamin Connick.
Sierra Wade.
Richard Adams.
Shell Pomerantz.
History. Cesar Arellano Sanchez.
Alexis Andrews.
Stephen Bauman.
Michaela Van Eaton.
Morgan Johnson.
Julian Schrupp.
Alex Seidel.
Jessica Jacqueline Sanchez.
Clark Gazzola.
Natalie Saldana.
Gage Rutherford.
Shira Ribicoff.
Josh Keeney.
Sarah Glab.
Carol Monroe.
Taylor Monet Young.
Zachary Wolflick.
Jesse Bright.
Nina Wasden.
Sarah Prisbalo.
Liam O'Malley.
Julie Blue.
Emily Kotviski.
Luke Rubinowitz.
Grace Lamb.
Athena Just.
Emily Nelson.
Aaron Bobrin Adair.
Piper Bentley.
Olivia Botsford.
Angel Mendoza.
Jasmine Copeland.
Britton Glazer.
Madeline Malsey.
Alexander Brown.
Shelby Anderson.
Alexandra Ibarra.
Nathan Kugler.
Guinevere Lutton.
Laith Gulum.
Jermaine Tukta.
Mitchell Felt.
Tanner Tombleson.
Aria Tamavong.
Amy Ganan.
Autumn Quiroz.
Jennifer Erickson.
Amna Reda.
Roman Block.
Soli Jung.
Christopher Kramer.
Sexuality, Gender, and Queer Studies. Kara Jinks.
Herman Lopez Ortiz.
Hannah Luckett. Women's Studies. Rebecca Kinman.
Judaic Studies. Madeline Marcus.
Sabrina Malatesta.
Liberal Studies. Angela Renee Reese.
Amber Thomas.
Auren Lucchini.
Blue Burren.
Mackenzie Ballard.
Marisol Mora Sendejas.
Sean Canny.
Julieta Castro.
Amanda Johnson.
Speech and Hearing Sciences.
Kaylin Rushforth.
Sulema Rodriguez.
Aiden Kadur.
Surisha Sukrutam.
Malia Endress.
Grace Catherine Lafferty.
Amy Villanueva.
Stephanie Collings.
Carrie Anderson.
Sierra Sparling.
Kimberly Renee Barnes.
Meredith Connolly.
Rachel Wiseman.
Amanda Zaire.
Georgianne DeLuna.
Hannah Ward.
Alexis Guzman.
Amber Richardson.
Renee Owens.
McKenna Cook.
Lexa Smith Harper.
Austin Fidston.
Madison Reynolds.
Luke Kiefer.
Joey Jonkola.
Sarah Elkington.
Naomi Seed.
Emma White.
Zachariah Seta.
Jasmine Barker.
Janessa Jordan Pedrano.
Brooke Shea.
Patrick Andres Garcia.
Isela Michelle Rodriguez.
Danica Benninghoven.
Megan Atkinson.
Kelsey Hurst.
Mimi Mullen.
Michael Anthony Aguilar.
Callie McCafferty.
Mathematics. Nancy Yang.
Yishun Shu.
J. Daniel Lopez Paz.
Sumaya Ali.
Alyssa Comstock.
Nasra Aiden.
Donald Katadin.
Angelica Bravo.
Christopher Dawn.
Alexa Spurley Michelson.
James Koenig.
Christine Hakola.
Joshua Patton.
Roa Altawil.
Quinn Hazlitt.
Amjad Albodares.
Jake Schlack.
Danya Wakid.
Aaron Foley.
Carolina Torres Santana.
Jeff Davis.
Courtney Owens.
Crystal Murogensky.
Catherine Wells.
Jacob Roosh.
World Languages and Literatures.
Fraser Heeb.
Preston Dewey.
Darby Sutter.
Kayla Bronson.
Faith Yakovleva.
Joshua Gaither.
Sophia Lawrence.
Michael Wassman.
Spencer Brown.
Ian White.
Roshan Bozorgnia.
Jacob McCormack.
Aaron Ormerod.
Jordan Wilson.
Edward Cruiser.
Ray Barnes. Alyssa Gonzalez.
John Mosier.
Lily Mayfrin.
Alec Moore.
Abrielle Anderson.
River Corbin.
Megan Sanford.
Joseph Motto.
Donald Meyer.
Jessica Robinson.
Serena Cater.
Zarek McGee.
Haley Wells.
Rita De Areno.
Maddox Pat.
Donald Zawalin.
Indira Funk.
Zach Allen.
Dina Gomez.
John Bornemeyer.
Barbara Leon Diestra.
Gwendolyn Painter.
Aurelie Vidana.
Andrew Wagner.
Elizabeth Hess.
Robert P. Newell III.
Katie Esperanza Mena.
June Ho.
Nelly Ibarra.
Rachel Walker.
Michelle Velasquez. Wendy Gonzalez Lazaro. Lysandria Salmeri. Andrea Michelle Lilly. Ilea Granucci. Anna Chen. Chris May. Chase Shearer. Ramona Klein. Jamie Cardenas. Parker Smith. Ava Kemp. Simone Garay.
Will the Masters and Baccalaureate candidates please rise? At this time, you may change your tassel from the right to the left side. Congratulations. In keeping with the tradition of the graduation ceremony, we will follow the order of dismissal with the platform party exiting first, followed by the faculty and newly graduated students. Please remain seated till your row is dismissed. Family and friends, you may meet your graduates outside of the Moda Center on the promenade. Congratulations, you all. Go, class of 2019.